The following is a presentation of the Eagles Sports Network.
Alongside Carson-Newman women's basketball coach Mike Mincey, I'm Michael Watching, and this is the Eagles Sports Network. They released the schedule for the 2017-18 campaign. Coach, another tough overall schedule in terms of some non-conference opponents. The way that the schedule breaks down, you're on the road basically until right before Thanksgiving. Those first two, you have that Peach Belt Sac crossover like you've had the last couple of years, and then you go down to North Georgia. What's that beginning portion of the schedule going to mean for this team to set the tone?
Well, I mean, we're excited about our team. We've got some obviously talented returning players. Feel good about the incoming freshmen, a couple of transfers that rolled in. So, you know, until we get to those games, we really don't know how good we can be. Obviously, starting out with Aiken and Lander is going to be a really tough challenge. That's going to be at Aiken this year, and I know they've got a slew of new players, so we're not going to know a whole lot about them. And then Lander, as far as I can tell, will be loaded this year, and I know they're playing a really tough schedule too. And, of course, then you go on the road the next weekend. So that's just the best we could do in terms of scheduling, is to play back-to-back tournaments in that first 2 weekends and play talented teams and be on the road, because it's really hard to get home games at this point.
You mentioned that you do have a new crop in terms of some players that you're going to expect to play some key minutes, but you also have some big-time returners on your team. How do you handle that balance at the beginning of the year to make sure that they are ready for the road scene?
I mean, that's a good question. You know, we're trying to figure out, you know, it's going to be some time before we figure out what our rotation is going to be. I mean, we have about 6 guys that you look back at the stats and the numbers from last year, and you know what you're going to get out of them, and then the rest of the way, it's just kind of guys that are going to get it done in practice through our scrimmages. Of course, we have the Tennessee exhibition, and we get stuff out of that too. So, we're trying to provide opportunities for them to play 5-on-5 right now in our 2 hours a week, and then once we get into our 20 hours a week of practice on the 15th, trying to provide some kind of separation. So we'll have some sort of a rotation, but the rotation will continue to move, I'm sure, as the season goes on, especially with those tough games at the beginning of the year.
When you look at last season, you probably had your most consistent overall year in terms of not really going on any kind of lulls throughout the year. What do you take from last year to try to duplicate that into this season?
Well, that you're right. That's last year was the first year that we haven't given up a game, I guess you could say, to a team that we weren't supposed to lose to. We had several games against top-tier talent or top-tier teams that we wish could have gone the other way to end up with a 20-10 record. But I was very happy with how we were able to hold serve against the teams that we were supposed to beat. And when you do that, you can win 20 games and not have that upset. And I think just about every year that I've been here, at least, we've always given up at least one. And I think we had a pretty complete team offensively. And when we can do that and you can put the ball in the basket, whether you're home or on the road, there's a good chance that you're not going to give up those games, those upset-type games.
When you enter conference play and you get the home situation like you do in this league, what is the most important thing for this group this year to ensure one of those top 4 spots?
Well, I don't know. The league is I think it's tougher this year even than it was last year. I think some of the teams that, didn't finish in the top 4 or maybe even didn't make the tournament, they've recruited well. We only have one new coach in the league this year, so there's that consistency from a coaching staff perspective at all these schools. I think it's going to be really tough. I think for us, health is going to be an issue. Well, not an issue, but I hope it doesn't become an issue. If we can stay healthy and we can get to play with the guys that we have right now, I like our chances. But that health thing, is the thing. Sickness, you never know when that's going to occur during the year. So I feel like we have a lot of good depth. We just got to stay healthy and continue to have that depth throughout the year. And you talking getting in those home games. We played really well at home last year, scored the ball really well, and that's what we'll look to do again this year.
Coach, thanks for the time. Best of luck this year.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
He's Mike Mincey. I'm Michael Watching, and this is the Eagles Sports Network.